Thank you for staying with us on Citizen Day Break. As I mentioned before we took the break, we are joined by Dr. Eliud Situma, who is a lawyer and education expert, and we have Dr. Charles Mukwaya, who is the Secretary General of the Kenya University Staff Union. I'm told Dr. Maloba Wekesa is not too far. He is of the Nairobi Chapter, University's Academic Staff Union. Karibuni sana, gentlemen. And for you who's watching, you can take part or listening. You can take part in the conversation. The hashtag is Citizen Daybreak. The X handle is at @obarrows at Citizen TV Kenya. The SMS line is 22422. So I will invite you to look at the headline of the Daily Nation, a nation in crisis. And right there at the center is education. Learning in public varsity is paralyzed after lecturers went on strike to demand a 8 billion shilling salary arrears. Schools in a cash crunch. Do you think the headline is astute, that the nation is indeed in a state of crisis? I'll start with you, Dr. Situma.
Thank you very much, Oli, and thank you, viewers. Yeah, looking at the headline, that learning public universities have been paralyzed, it is true that we are actually in a crisis. I'm aware that students reported recently, it's barely 2 weeks since they came to the university. And I'm also aware that most high schools, they haven't received their capitation. So to that extent, I totally agree with the headline that the nation is in a crisis. And we need to have a very candid conversation about this, because education remains our lifeline. There's nowhere we can go without education. So we hope that we, as key stakeholders, we can have a very candid discussion to make a resolution to this.
All right. Dr. Mukwaya.
Thank you, Vero. Indeed, this country is in a crisis. When we have two main sectors in sort of confusion that we have, we're talking about health, we're talking about education, then that is a clear sign that a country like that is moving the wrong direction. Why do I say this? I say this because when, as a country, we were getting self-rule, there are certain fundamentals that we promised ourselves, that we will prevent diseases as one of them, that tutafukuza ujinga, that's education. Now look, those two, among others, are the ones that we are being told are in crisis. It is true. We cannot have a country whose education sector, the youths are not going to school well. The universities are in turmoil. Hospitals are complaining. Patients are not receiving services, and yet they are paying. That is a clear sign that indeed a nation is in crisis.
All right, so you do agree with the headline?
I do agree.
All right, so they make mention of 8 billion shillings. So they say learning in public varsity is paralyzed after lecturers went on strike to demand 8 billion shillings salary arrears. And I flip to page 2 of the Daily Nation, and the story there reads, students suffer as lecturers strike and funding is delayed. Students in public universities have gone for 1 week without being taught after lecturers downed their tools on Wednesday last week, demanding payment of 2.73 billion shillings, being the phase 2 arrears of the 2021-2025 collective bargaining agreement. So perhaps you could explain the 8 billion shilling figure?
Yeah, thank you, Vero. Yes, the 8 billion shillings is a true figure. We, as staff in the universities or employees in our public universities, did engage with our employers. Those are the university councils, the parent ministry, that's the Ministry of Education, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, the National Treasury, all the relevant government agencies, in candid mutual negotiations way back in 2018 to negotiate a CBA a collective bargaining agreement whose life was to start from 1st July 2017 to 2021, June 30th. We negotiated, we agreed without any coercion, and we signed that particular CBA on 28th November 2019. Now, when we signed it, it then moved to the usual, normal, expected phase that then it's supposed to be taken to SRC to be given a no objection advisory. It gave. And then the last phase is to have that CBA then brought before a court of law to be registered so that it gets the force of the law. And all of us as partners were before the court, and we had no objection. We agreed, and the court registered. So it became a court judgment. Now, when it came to the implementation, and that is the duty of the employer. The employer, once a CBA has been registered, it is his or her duty to now go to the parent ministry and source for funds. Of course, the parent ministry will get in touch with the National Treasury. That is not our duty. You go and do it. Come and implement. Our duty is done. This employer only managed to get part of that particular cost of the CBA. He got only 8.8 billion. And in fact, he did not get it. We had to get out to go and help him get the money. That's how serious it is. So they only managed at that time to get part of the cost of the CBA. That was 8.8 billion. It remained 7.9. Now, instead of going out and saying, okay, can you, the government, get me the remaining? He slept on the job. The employer slept on the job.
So when you say employer, who are you referencing?
University councils and the parent ministry.
Ministry of Education.
Education.
Okay.
Yeah. So instead, the ministry ran to court to challenge that this extra money is not necessary. This 8.8 that has been paid is enough. But the cost of the CBA is the total of the 8.8 plus 7.9. So why are you saying now 8.8 is enough? So he said, fine, you've gone to court of law, that is your right. And when they went there, they slept on their job again. They only filed a notice of appeal. And they kept quiet. So every year we keep reminding them. They say, no, the matter is in court, we cannot do anything. Until time lapsed, we went to court and say, now, the period of appeal has lapsed. We are waiting for our money. And the court said, yes, this money is supposed to be paid to you. And none other than the chief legal advisor of the government, that is the Attorney General's office, advised parent ministry, advised SRC, advised Treasury, advised the university councils that go ahead and pay this money. Have they paid? They have not paid. So from 2018 all the way to last week, but one, when we were giving out our strike notice, those are 7 good years. If you are a good employer and a serious government that really believes in ensuring that education in our universities go on smoothly, 7 years is too long a period not to get money and pay these workers, pay the lecturers to get these boys and girls learning. They have not done that. And that's why when our notice of strike lapsed Wednesday last week, we had to go on strike, and we are on strike.
Okay. So this 2.73 billion being referenced as phase 2 areas of the 2021-2025 collective bargaining agreement?
Yes.
Is that, because if 7.9 is what was owed, and 7 years later, this is the amount that you've gotten on strike over?
Well, I'll clarify that. We have talked about a collective bargaining agreement whose life is 2017-2021.
Yes.
That CBA,
Yes.
the outstanding arrears is 7.9.
Yes.
The so-called 8 billion.
Yeah.
Now, we come to the next or successor CBA, 2021-2025. You know, we negotiate after every 4 years. So this 2021 to 2025 CBA, the outstanding arrears were also there to the tune of 2.73 billion. So when we were demanding for these arrears to be paid, we were demanding for those two sets of arrears. The one of 2017-2021, which is the 7.9 billion, and also the 2.73 billion for the 2021-2025 CBA. I don't know whether you get me there.
I'm with you.
Yes. So what has the government done because of the strike, the pressure from the strike? They have run and tried to resolve the easier bit, the 2.73. The 2.73. That's what the government has run around and said, okay, you guys, can you have this? To sort of quail these issues and the crisis. But that is not enough. We still have the 7.9 billion standing.
So this has been settled, the 2.73 billion?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So the outstanding amount is the 7.9 billion?
Yes.
All right. So, Wakili.
Yes.
Tell us, you were here when we ran the report of the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Ogamba, CS Ogamba, saying, Migos Ogamba, that the lecturers are acting in contempt of court. Having interrogated this matter, is that the case?
Thank you very much. In Kenya, we have a rule of law. And every time there's a court order, it is always expected that there'll be compliance. And I'm aware there was an issuance of interdiction from the Employment and Labor Relations Court recently. What does that imply? What it implies is that all the parties are required to comply with the court order. Number two is that after compliance, then there's the bit of conciliation. The parties, the dons, and the other stakeholders that are involved in a crisis are supposed to meet with the Minister of the Labor and find a way forward in good faith. Actually, the underlying bit is that every time there's a crisis, there's a stalemate, and a court has made a pronouncement to that matter, there's no other way to it. And we expect that all the stakeholders have to abide by it. But having said that, it also worries me, despite the fact that we are in a government that respects the rule of law, that we have a very progressive constitution, that is the Constitution of Kenya 2010. And looking at this Constitution 2010, one of the things that really make it unique, there's those salient features, and I'll mention a few of them. That number one, the reason why we celebrated this constitution is to reduce imperial presidency. And number two, respect for the introduction of a Bill of Rights. And if you look at the Bill of Rights, it will be double speak that those who've been given the powers, especially the executive arm, they're the ones who are playing around with the lives of students. Why do I say this? That this looks like a very clear script that we've been following years down the line. A CBA is signed in court. Then number two, one of the side, they don't respect what has been agreed upon, and obviously the government. Then what follows is they wait until when they decide, when the lecturers are going on strike, they say, okay, let us do firefighting. That is not the rule of law. Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 talks about the national values, patriotism, accountability, and integrity. If we have leaders who really respect the principles of governance, we'll not be having this cat and mouse game, so that every time they have to be reminded to play their part, every time they have to run to court to quell and make things to work out. So just to answer your question, yes, there's a court order, and court orders must be complied with. Thank you.
All right. I would like to invite to the panel Dr. Maloba Wekesa, who from the UWASU Nairobi chapter. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
UWASU being the university's academic staff union. So Dr. Mukwaya was explaining the origin of this debt from the 2017-2021 CBA. So there was an 8.8 which was made available, and 7.9 billion was pending. From the 2021-2025 CBA agreement, he told us there was a pending 2.73 billion, which he says has not been settled. You're in agreement that far? Dr. Wekesa?
First, I have to apologize for being late. Sorry about that, Olive. But back to your point. I think just as I walked in, Wakili was mentioning something about
a court order.
A court order. And the very fact that there seems to be a rush by government to firefight a situation which has been lingering over a period. I would want to reiterate one thing, that yes, university lecturers are very law-abiding people, but we are also very aware of our rights. And we are also very aware when the government wants to game us. A strike is not something which happens nearly suddenly. It is a long process where a timeline is given by the government to honor a certain promise. We even register a dispute. We wait for the matter to be resolved. And in the event that such a situation becomes untenable, then that is why, and ultimately, when labor is withdrawn. So the very fact that Migos Ogamba is running around and telling lecturers, go back to class, first, there is a couched impudence about such kind of order. He seems to actually imagine that university lecturers should actually be ordered around when the real culprit is the government. This situation has been lingering over a long period of time, way before Migos Ogamba, who is only 1 year in service, has only come as a cabinet secretary. We've been having this matter for a very long period of time when probably Migos Ogamba was nowhere in the scene. You should take time to understand. And the very fact that a small portion of our demands have been met, which is only one, and I want to insist, we have 3 demands. The first demand was actually the latest, where we told the government, listen here, you even budgeted money. Why are you delaying in giving us this money? Well, they said, all right, now we have disbursed. Why should that be any kind of celebration to lecturers who have been waiting for this period of time? We do not celebrate when the government only honors its promise to do something that it had already promised to do. But then now coming back to the second point, there is a 7.9 billion arrears that has been lingering now for 8 years. We have documentation, even by their own senior state counsel, the Attorney General's office, agreeing that there is a certain sum which needs to be budgeted. And this is actually a letter which came on 25th of March this year, signed by a senior state counsel called E.S. Carbolo. And he actually says the government is at fault. He says, settle this thing with the lecturers. Let us not even litigate it further. I don't want even to go back to the history of it because it's very painful, recounting how the government reneged on its own promise, went into court and never even showed up just to run the clock. And then, 8 years later, 7.9 billion remaining, and then a cabinet secretary wakes up in an early morning on the coast side of Kenya while spending taxpayers' money and saying he's ordering lecturers back to class. First, we don't have classes, we have lecture rooms, and we have lecture halls, and we have labs. Wherever he thinks that there is a classroom, Migos Ogamba, feel free to go to that classroom yourself. But the very fact that you are attempting to order lecturers around is impudent enough. You are actually escalating the matter beyond. Courts are not going to save you on a matter where the government is wrong. The only recourse here is the government to live up to its promise. And it's not even the promise, it is law. It is right now law. The person who is the culprit here is the government. Pay up. Hiyo ndo dawa ya deni, sidio?
Yeah.
Malipo. Nothing else. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we need to take a break. I know kidogo Dr. Mukwaya was about to say Viva. We take a break, but we ask them, okay, so what is the long and short of this court order for them, the implications for them? And then, have CBA's lost meaning? Is that essentially what we are saying? Now, when you're going to the negotiating table, is that good faith, given this track record, still there? So we continue the conversation. Do join in at Obarrows as my X handle, at Citizen TV Kenya. The hashtag is Citizen Daybreak, and the SMS line is 22422.